These were highly unsuitable for a woman in her 50s, and she'd pinned up her hair too tightly. It was irritating her. She'd thought of having it cut, but her daughters had both protested that she wouldn't seem herself with short hair, and it hadn't mattered enough to her. The choir got tangled and faltered to a halt, so had to be restarted. She glanced along the row of fellow sufferers, but could see no way of sneaking out without drawing attention to herself. She should just leave anyway, but she didn't quite like to do that. She was a coward. The next item was a Year 1 class playing a variety of percussion instruments, allegedly in time with a recording. They didn't have much sense of rhythm, but they were overflowing with enthusiasm for making a lot of noise. Simone let her thoughts wander. Her husband had died suddenly 4 years ago, and though she was used to living on her own now, it could be hard to do things like this alone. She'd met a guy of her own age a couple of years ago and had enjoyed Phil's company greatly until he moved in with her. He was definitely not domesticated, and she'd soon realised exactly why his ex-wife had left him. Their cohabitation hadn't even lasted 3 months. She wasn't stupid enough to let anyone treat her like a servant, and when he'd told her 2 weeks running that he was a bit short of money and couldn't pay his share of the household bills just yet, that had been the final straw. She'd dumped his belongings on the front lawn while he was at work, and had all the locks to the house changed. "Never mind," she'd said carelessly to her daughters when she told them. "I'll be able to babysit for you more often." Big mistake. Since then, she'd found herself in great demand. She loved her grandchildren dearly, how could you not? But she wanted to do something more interesting with her life than sit watching TV while her grandchildren slept and their parents went out enjoying themselves. To make matters worse, for the past year, many of her friends and acquaintances had started introducing her to eligible men. There hadn't been one she really fancied. But some of the men had taken a while to stop pestering her. With 1 or 2, she suspected that was because she was financially independent, rather than due to an overwhelming attraction. People began applauding, and she realised the concert had ended. Well, that was a relief anyway. "Weren't they cute?" the woman next to her said. "No, dreadful." That got her several dirty looks from people nearby. Too bad. It was the worst school concert she'd ever attended. When she went outside, she looked for Tommy, but he seemed to have vanished. Chloe had said he'd catch the school bus at the usual time, so that Simone wouldn't need to go out of her way to take him home afterwards. The buses were all lined up with children bobbing about inside. The ones who'd been performing in the concert were running across the oval to join them, shrieking and yelling. What a total waste of an afternoon. She was wasting her life, too. She sat in the car, feeling depressed, wondering how to change that. There had to be a more meaningful way of spending her time. When she got home, Simone stared at the row of family photos on her mantelpiece, and the dreadful thought returned. Years of school concerts lay ahead of her. Both her daughters and their partners worked full-time and didn't go to many daytime school functions. And even the evening ones were usually too tiring after a day's work. She frowned as it occurred to her yet again that they didn't find it too tiring to go out in the evenings to cafes or friends' houses, or even too expensive for all their claims of tight budgets, partly thanks to her free babysitting, no doubt. Did anyone run classes in how to tell white lies to family members whom you loved dearly but who were driving you mad? If so, she'd be the first to enroll. The phone rang just as she was getting ready for bed, but she didn't pick it up straight away. She listened to Deb leaving a message on the answer phone. Another request for babysitting because a sudden, wonderful opportunity had arisen for Deb and Logan the following evening. "You won't believe it, Ma, but we've been given theatre tickets to a gala opening night, and there's a reception afterwards, so you may as well sleep over because we'll be late back." It was rare that Deb's outings ended before midnight anyway, so what did late mean this time? Simone was an early-to-bed person, and staying up till the small hours disrupted the following day for her, because she woke around her normal time of 6 a.m. and struggled for lack of sleep. She hesitated, hand hovering near the phone, then shook her head and made no attempt to pick it up as her daughter ended the call with a request to get back to her and confirm the arrangement. "No, thank you, Deb. I can't face it," she said aloud.